Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing amazing. So for this one, we're going to be going through my October reading wrap up. So I managed to read 6 books in the month of October. 4 of them was on my monthly TBR. Unfortunately, I did not get to the night circus. I'm so sorry. I really wanted to get to that one, but unfortunately, I caught some sort of illness and I was bedbound for quite a long time. I did not pick up a book for about a week. So in my head, I could have finished the night circus in that week, but life is life, right? I did manage to read 4 from my monthly TBR. I read 1 e-arc, and then I threw in just a random spooky book to start October with. But without further ado, shall we crack on? I'm also going to try and speed things up because I know that I tend to ramble on my wrap-ups and they can go on for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to try and speed these up, but we'll see how we go. But the first book that I read in October to start spooky season was The Counting Game by Sinead Nolan. And I just want to say thank you so much to HarperCollins for sending me this one. I truly appreciate it. And I ended up rating this a 3.5 stars. So the plot for this one, we are based in Ireland and Saoirse, who is a little girl, has suddenly gone missing, and the only person who knows what's happened is 9-year-old Jack. But the only problem being, he is not telling a soul. He knows exactly what's happened, where she's gone, but he just refuses to talk. So detectives on the case decide to get Freya, who is a psychotherapist, and kind of her niche is to be able to get kids to open up during kind of really high cases. And we are then going through the point of views in this book between Freya and Jack and finding out what has happened to Saoirse. As you may be able to decipher from the title and kind of the tagline at the top, there is a spooky game in the spooky forest which may play a part in her disappearance. So what I really did like the atmosphere in this book. It was very eerie, very creepy. I always feel like when children are involved, it just takes it up a notch as well. So I did really love the vibes, the atmosphere in this book. I also believe that it's based loosely on Sinead's kind of upbringing, like the setting and the towns and whatnot. So I always love that. It's also based in the 90s, which again, I love a little bit of a throwback. What I will say, it did start off a little bit slow, which I personally don't mind. I don't mind a book setting the scene, setting it up, ready for kind of a fast middle and end, but just something to be aware of. Also, as I said, we are changing point of views between Freya and Jack. Jack's obviously a 9-year-old boy, and sometimes I found his voice was a little bit older than what it should be, and it just felt a little bit disjointed. It took me out of the scene a little bit, and you kind of had to remind yourself that he is a 9-year-old boy. I did actually go in thinking that this book was going to be like a horror, but I don't know if I'd class it as a horror. It is horror-esque, but I would say it's more of a thriller. But again, that's totally on me. I should have done my research beforehand, so I can't dock that for the book. But the one thing I can dock the book on personally is the ending. I just didn't like it. I thought it was a bit of a cop-out. I don't know. I feel like we're building up to something really big and then it turns out to be something really quite small. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give anything away, but this is a supernatural book. So we have got like superstition, supernatural things at play here. But the ending, it really fell flat, and I was quite disappointed, and that is kind of the sole reason why this is a 3.5 and I can't go any higher. Like I say, you are reading it, you're getting those spooky vibes, those eerie vibes, and I just feel like the ending didn't match. So unfortunately, it just didn't hit the mark. I will say I do think it's like a great palate cleanser book, especially for a thriller. Like, there wasn't anything offensively bad, it was just the ending wasn't my cup of tea. But again, that's personal preference, so you may love this. But overall, I'm glad to have read it. Definitely a great palate cleanser and a great one to start the spooky season for me. So the next book I read was Reckless by Lauren Roberts, and I did actually read this in a reading vlog, so I won't go into too much detail as you kind of know my thoughts already, but I rated this one 3 stars, and I don't even know if that is being a bit generous because genuinely, nothing happened in this book. I do not see the point of this book. So I don't want to say too much about the plot just because obviously there's book 1 and I don't want to give anything away, which again, I did say this in the reading vlog, but I'm going to say it again. Do not read the blurb of Reckless if you have not read Powerless because there's a big spoiler for the ending. So just don't do it to yourself. I think it was supposed to be kind of like a cat and mouse game between Payton and Kai, but that was for the first 20%, if that. And then they somehow found each other. And basically, this is a whole book of Payton and Kai flirting and pretending, which, by the way, I don't understand why this book is so repetitive in telling us that they're pretending not to like each other. Like, it's a romantasy. We all know what's going to happen. It was just so tedious to read, and genuinely, I just feel like the plot is missing. And the ending, I think the ending was supposed to be like a shock factor, like, I just wasn't. I'm so sorry. I just feel like this series is not for me. I feel like there's nothing new in this series. There's nothing new, nothing breathtaking. I think that's it. There was nothing spectacular. It was okay to read. Fair enough. Payton, I don't like Payton. I found her very, like, I know she isn't ordinary in the book, but she just can't do anything for herself. Like, she always needs help, which again, like, I don't know why people say that she's a strong FMC. I don't see it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be able to do half the stuff that she could do, but like, I'm not in a romantasy book. I don't see the hype around it. So unfortunately, this is just a 3 stars, middle of the road. That may be generous. And obviously, if you've not seen my November TBR, I will link it up there. But I have Fearless to wrap it up. I'm so keen to wrap this series up. And I'm so sorry if you do love this series and you think, what the hell am I talking about? But if you've not read The Hunger Games, read that, and then you'll realise that this is not that great. The next book I read was That Devil Ambition by Lindsey Miller. And again, I just want to say thank you so much to HarperCollins because they did send me this one. And overall, I rated this a 3.5 stars. For this one, this is Dark Academia, which I believe is my first Dark Academia book that I've read. And I really enjoyed it. I love the setting, so I definitely need to pick up more that kind of subgenre. So for this one, we have got a school of magicians, and we have got this one particular class, and they have a single assignment, and that assignment is to kill their professor. But the only problem being is that their professor is actually a devil. So of course it's no easy task. If they manage to kill their professor, then that means all their student debts are void. They will all be paid and they do not need to worry about them. But if they do not complete this assignment, then that means that the professor is able to kill them. Very high stakes. And then we are going through the journey of 3 students in the class who are all friends, and we are going in their point of view on their kind of personality, how they would complete the assignment if they succeed, etc. Now, as I mentioned before, I loved the Dark Academia setting. It was gothic, it was a little bit eerie, and obviously it's like the student setting, which I absolutely love. So the atmosphere, tick. The plot, again, the storyline, I feel like I should have loved, and to be fair, I did. But the thing that let it down for me is, I have to say, I was a little bit confused with the magic system. Now, I don't know if that's just because I've not really read a Dark Academia, or like, this is quite a new genre to me, and like the magic systems and whatnot, I don't really delve too much into those sort of books. So I don't know if it just took a little bit of a time for me to get my head around it, but I do feel like we was just pushed in with no real explanation. Now, if you are like a veteran in like magic systems and whatnot, you're going to think this is really easy and you're just going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? But personally, for me, I found it very confusing. By the end of the book, I did have a better understanding, but you have to kind of work that out for yourself. There's no proper information on what the magic system is. We are in the point of view of 3 friends. So we've got Fabian, Credence, and I want to say Mia. Now, it's done in 3 parts. So part 1 is Fabian, part 2 I think was Credence, and then part 3 was Mia. I had the biggest shock at the end of part 1. Like, my jaw was actually dropped. Like, I couldn't believe it. I did not see it coming at all. And again, I have to give brownie points for it. I really enjoyed part 1, which was Fabian's, the most. So obviously we had that big kind of twist at the end of the chapter. Also, I just found that he had the most character. He was kind of like a prefect sort of person, always knows best. He kind of thinks he's better than everyone, and I don't know, I just feel like he had the most character, and therefore I found that his portion of the book was a lot more enjoyable to read. It started off really well, and then with parts 2 and 3, I just feel like it went slightly downhill. The ending was a bit of a, I don't want to say cop out. I did actually see the ending coming, but it fell flat for me. I feel like we're reading this book, like really building up to something, and then it was just like it just went into a flat line. Like, I don't know, it was nothing special personally. So again, the ending did let it down for me. So the next book I read was actually an e-arc, and it was The Black Carnival by Harlequin Grimm. And again, I rated this one a 3.5 stars. I'm very kind of middle of the road this month, a lot of 3.5s. So for this one, it's a historical gothic thriller-esque fiction. So we've got Atherton Graves, and he is basically a gravedigger for corpses, but he has noticed that recently there has been a lot of child deaths going on, and he has a sneaky suspicion that someone is killing them and they're not natural deaths. So we have got that side of the plot, but then we have also got another side of the plot where there is kind of a mob, and they are after Atherton Graves. There's kind of like a rivalry between the Graves family and this mob family, and somehow the Black Carnival comes in. I know, this is it. I was a little bit confused reading the book, but we have got this kind of Black Carnival that's like a travelling carnival, but the owner of the carnival is also a little bit dodgy and maybe does deals with the wrong people, etc. And then Atherton Graves somehow seeks kind of the protection from the carnival. I'm sorry, this is really bad. I was a little bit confused reading because there was quite a lot going on. So for the first part, we have got like this whodunit, who's doing these murders kind of storyline. And then we've got like another storyline for the second half of the book, which was more to do with like the mobsters and him trying to basically stay alive. It's very confusing. And again, this is why it's a 3.5. I love the setting, this gothic, spooky vibes. Didn't really connect with any of the characters, which again, let it down a bit for me. But overall, I just felt like the plot was maybe a bit too stretched. You know, like I did enjoy the murder mystery, but I knew who that was kind of pretty straight away. I saw the foreshadowing a mile off basically, and I knew who the murderer was going to be, but also the murderer is found out at about the 60% mark. So you're also feeling like, what's going to happen for the rest of the book? And what did happen? You know, I don't know. We're obviously going through the mob family. Atherton is trying to keep himself alive. He's also going a little bit crazy, maybe. So it just felt a little bit disjointed for me. Did I have a good time reading it? Yes. Would I technically recommend it? I'm not so sure. I don't know. I do believe this is his debut novel. I love reading new authors, and the thing is, I do think he's got like a great writing style. I love the vibe. I love historical fiction. That sort of timeline is my jam. Like, and I could really picture myself kind of like in the story. But again, it was great for October. I'm not sad that I read it. The next book I read was Redemption by Jack Jordan. And we finally got 4 stars. Woohoo! We have got a 4 stars. And actually, I think Jack Jordan is going to become an author that I just have to read. I really, really enjoyed this one. So we have essentially got a cat and mouse game going on. So we've got Aaron, and he has just come out of prison because he was serving time for killing a child during a hit and run. So we've got Aaron as a first point of view. We have then got Evelyn as a second point of view, and she is the mother of that child that Aaron killed, and she is out for revenge. She's like, nope, he's not coming out free. He killed my child. I'm gonna kill him. And then we've got Tobias, who is the husband of Evelyn, and he's a bit on the fence. He's like, I don't want Evelyn to ruin her life by going after Aaron, so I need to stop her. So it's kind of a three-way cat and mouse game, and honestly, I ate it up. I ate this up. Like, I read this so fast. It's unreal. I've also read Do Not Harm by Jack Jordan. I did enjoy that one, but I think this one tops it just a little bit. So this was so fast paced to the point where I could not stop reading. Genuinely could not stop reading. It kind of is set in like a desert which again, I love the tense vibes of it, you know, like of being in the middle of nowhere. How are you going to get out of these situations that you're placed in? Like, how? But Jack manages to write it in a way that makes it believable. Now, I will say maybe the end of the book, maybe from the 60% mark, it may have got a little bit silly. Maybe where I was at a point where I was like, I'm not sure this would happen. I'm not sure this would be the outcome, or, you know, just little things like that. But because I was loving the storyline, I kind of glossed over it. I know I shouldn't, but I did. Jack also writes this in a way where I actually felt emotional for all of the main characters. So obviously Aaron has done a bad thing, but I felt sorry for him. Obviously Evelyn is in the middle of doing a bad thing, but I still felt sorry for her. Same with Tobias. Like, Jack Jordan makes a character have so much depth to him, and that is what I like. And obviously Jack Jordan writes books where he kind of questions your morality, you know, like, what would you do in this situation? Like, this could be a real life situation. What would you do? And I love that, because obviously I am thinking, like, what would you do? And I actually, in the end, the person who I thought I would be rooting for, I absolutely was not. I love a book where it takes you in a direction where you do not think that you are going to go. So yeah, really did enjoy it. The ending though, I did enjoy the ending. I didn't see the ending coming, but maybe I would have liked a little bit more. I don't know. But it's kind of tough, because I did enjoy the ending because it's not what I envisioned it to be, but did I want a little bit more? Maybe. I know I'm giving you mixed signals here, right? But no, overall, if you like your thrillers, or especially where it questions your morality, honestly, he does it so well. I need to pick up, I think it's Conviction. I just love his writing as well. It's so easy to read, so binge worthy, so fast. And I actually don't see Jack Jordan going around much on social media, and I would love to change that, because this book was great. And finally, the last book I read in October was The Shining by Stephen King. I told you I'd read this in October, and I did. I'm very proud of myself. I actually done immersive reading for this one, where you listen to the audiobook and follow along. And honestly, it added so much to my reading experience. I loved it. I don't know whether to rate this 5 stars or a 4.5. Maybe I'll give it a 4.5 for now, but I am so close to changing that to a 5-star, because this was absolutely incredible. So we've got Jack Torrance, and he is a little bit down on his luck at the moment. Well, I won't say luck, but he's got fired from his job for very good reason. He's a little bit of an alcoholic. He's just feeling a little bit lost, but he gets an opportunity to take him and his family to the Overlook Hotel and basically be the caretaker for the winter months. So the hotel was shut down. It would just be them living there, and Jack will be kind of dealing with all the maintenance work around the hotel. But all that I'm going to say is that this is a psychological thriller. So they start off in the hotel all fine and dandy, and by the end of it, they're not themselves. But my God, this book, I was hooked from the get-go. So I've read a couple of Stephen King's books, and honestly, I love every single one of them so far. Like, this just does not disappoint. I do not understand why I've been so scared to pick this up. Like, I definitely would reread this book, I think, like 100%. This book was creepy. It was eerie. Like, there was actually parts in this where I was a bit like shocked. Like, I was a little bit spooked out. And I do actually think the immersive reading helped with that, because obviously they do their own voices and whatnot. But there is one bit in this book, well, there's a few bits, but there was one specific bit which I don't actually hear people talk about a lot. All I'm going to say is a dog. And it creeped me the hell out. It creeped me the hell out. I've not seen the movie, so I can't compare it to the movie. I do want to watch the movie, but I've heard it's very different. So what I loved about this as well is obviously it's like a haunted house, right? Like a haunted hotel. That's kind of a trope if you want to put it in one. But I think there's a lot more going on play it here, and that is kind of your internal demons and your internal troubles that happen into you, because I just feel like the hotel jumped on those, you know, especially with Jack. Like, I just think it's just so much more than a haunted hotel. You know, I actually felt sorry for Jack. I've heard in the movie he's just not very likable. In the book, I actually got a little bit emotional for Jack in that sense. I got emotional for all of them, for Danny, the little boy, he's their son, and also his wife. Like, I felt sorry for all of them. I think with Stephen King as well, he likes to delve a lot into the backstory, which I love. So the first 150 pages, some people might say it was slow. I think were 100% needed. It gives you the backstory of Jack and the family as a whole, what may be going on, why he may be acting this way. I absolutely loved it. I feel like this is definitely not a cohesive review, but if you love horrors and you've not read The Shining, especially psychological thrillers, this is definitely one to read. Like, it was just incredible. Just as a heads up, the language used in this book, I believe it's based in 1980s. Doesn't make it right, but just maybe look at trigger warnings for the language that is used in this book. I don't tend to reread books. I feel like I would definitely be rereading this book like in a couple of years' time, because I can't express to you how clever this book is. I actually think Stephen King's writing is really clever. I've also read like It. It was a 5-star read for me. I love It. Carrie was amazing. I've read Misery. That was amazing. I just feel like I have so much admiration for Stephen King's writing. And thank you so much to my sister, because she kind of forced me to read this and said it was amazing. And she's totally correct. So yes, if this is on your radar, if this is on your TBR, please do bump it up. It's incredible. You will not be disappointed, I promise. And that is my October wrap up done. I really hope I've kind of done this justice, because I did want to speed it up, because I know for a fact that I would just ramble on, but I hope I've put in like good points here and I've not just sped things up too much. And I don't know, I would love to know your opinion on what you thought of this video. But I feel like I had a good month, considering I was kind of bedbound for like 3 days. I did not pick up a book for a week. Like, that's quite a long time. So I'm actually really pleased for the 6 books that I have read. I would love to know, did you read any amazing books in October that maybe I should add to my TBR? Have you read any of the books that I've read for my October TBR? I would love to know all the tea. But if you did find yourself enjoying this video, it would mean so much to me if you could like and subscribe, because I would love to talk all things books with you, and honestly just to have another book bestie. So thank you so much. I hope you've had a fab October. I hope you're going to have some fantastic reads in November, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.